thank you. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Coast Business Equipment Virtual Open House. Thank you for taking the time out of your day and spending a few minutes with us to present a snapshot of a document management software called DM Connect. My name is Gilbert Gastelum. I'm the Vice President of Managed Services here at Coast Business Equipment. Coast Business Equipment was established in 1981, supporting customers out of our area of cutting-edge technology in the areas like multifunction printing, scanning solutions, IT network support, phone systems, and much, much more. Our longstanding relationship with Kyocera has been for about 20 years, and I'd like to introduce John Tavasti. I'm sorry about that. He will be conducting a quick demo of DM Connect software. We will have a Q&A afterwards, and there is a chat box you can enter in your questions. If you have any questions, please enter them in, and then we'll answer them at the end. We're also going to have a raffle at the end, so please stay tuned for that. I know, John's a good-looking guy, but I think we're all here for the raffle.
Me too, man.
Yes, exactly, right? So with that being said, David, if you could give John the control, we'll take over from there.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, let's just go with my screen. All right, folks. Once again, thank you. Can everyone see my presentation? They see the welcome hand? Right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to give a little brief overview of who Kyocera is, and then we're going to talk about the product. As Gilbert mentioned, Coast to Coast has been a partner of Kyocera's for 20 years now. So that's pretty impressive. That's a long relationship. So we're happy and appreciative of that. And again, this isn't going to be extensive, but typically when we say the name Kyocera, people, I will get Kia who, and unless they're in circles that know us. So just a brief overview of who we are. First, we've been around for quite a while, and I like to say that we're the biggest company you've never heard of. Been around since 1959, started off in ceramics, but we do a whole array of products, which you'll see. Just a quick overview of, but I also like to show the size of who we are. And again, we're one of the world's largest diversified technology manufacturing companies. We're in communications, mobile devices. We make cell phones, semiconductor components. We do solar panels, auto components, life environment, and document solutions, which I'm a part of, and that's really what we're going to be highlighting today. But again, just like to paint the broader picture of who we are as an organization. And for those that even wonder, okay, well, so what's so big about Kyocera? We are ranked as one of the top 50 global innovators on the planet. Last year that I have numbers for was 2017, but we're ahead of some pretty well-known companies. GM, Xerox, Infineon, and HP, which I'm sure many of you have heard. And just to show our breadth of products, it started off in ceramics. We do ceramic TV components. We do ceramic kitchenware, knives and pots and pans. In the 90s, we do ceramic components that are all throughout our printers, components for LCD screens, cell phones, even medical technology, automotive technology. Painting the picture and continuing in it. All right, so what we're here to learn about is, and again, I'll even diversify a little bit. As Gilbert mentioned, he mentioned multifunction printers. That has been our core product in the document solutions sector. Let me see if I can move this. Yeah, in the document solution sector, or i.e. copiers, for lack of a better description, but now they are multifunction devices. Copying is just one thing they do. And we have products, that add enhancement or enhance what the devices can do natively. This is typically done with software. DM Connect is one of our most versatile products. It is currently, we have a suite of software. This one would be our second ranked, but probably our most valuable product. We sell one product a little bit more than this, but this is our fastest growing product in the organization, because this is the one that we continue to innovate on the most. And if we just take a look there, right, everybody's scanning, right? Well, what this does is this allows us to scan smarter. And I like to think of DM Connect kind of as your digital file clerk. Rather, a lot of people scan and are doing manually processes. We actually can use DM Connect to automate a lot of those processes. But ultimately, the payoff for you as an organization is we're trying to help you increase efficiency and stay connected. And prior to, in its previous iterations, it was always added functionality to the MFP. We've now offered digital capture capability, so we can process documents that are already in electronic format. So it does, so that actually has become a game changer for us that we've launched within the last 12 months. And again, just to give an overview. All right, so here we go. What can it do? Well, first let's talk about it's customizable. All right, so the nice thing about this is compared to some other systems you can purchase, it can be customizable to your environment. So this is not so you as an organization don't have to learn a new product. We'll basically configure DM Connect to work with the folder structure or file structure that you're already working with. And yeah, there are options for some new things, but that's always one of the pushbacks we get is, oh, is it just a one size fits all? It's like, no, we can customize it as much as we can to do pretty much what you do and meet you where you are. Allows us to create folders on the fly, right? We'll actually see something like that, but I'll describe how it works. It's saying if you have a filing system right now, everyone manually creates new folder, name it, and all that. DM Connect can actually take data either, from wherever it's entered or read from a document and actually create new folders that don't exist. Scanning and index documents for storage and retrieval, right? I mean, storing documents is fine, but the reason we store them is we want to be able to find them, right? Whatever terminology and naming conventions you use, we can configure DM Connect to match that. It's just going to help you do it in a faster, more efficient way than depending on keystrokes and mouse clicks to get it all done. Little things it can do: blank page removal, job separation. It reads barcodes, it'll do bait stamping, which we'll actually see at typical stamping. We can do document splitting by size and number of pages. From the panel, you can actually see a scan preview. We can send out email notifications. Things that it reads. You can input from the panel. If you're scanning a single document or single file that needs to be named at the panel, you can actually type in a name there rather than getting back to your desktop. Or if people are doing a lot of that one-off naming, you can actually attach an optional keyboard to your device. Text fields from scanned documents, or we will call this form recognition, but if you have a bunch of documents where the information's in the same place all the time, and right now you're manually in it, we can actually load that form into DM Connect and it'll read the data out of those forms. Database lookups, right? If you've got customer or client information in the database, but you want to use that database information in file naming or metadata, anything of that nature, it can actually pull that. I think I have a sample of that I can show you. It'll read linear barcodes. So linear barcodes, like the barcodes, the codes that are scanned when we go to the supermarket. You got those typically have a single piece of data in them. And then we can read QR codes, which are what we'll call it it's called a 2D barcode. But the difference between those is linear barcode is a single piece of data, and if we're using multiple pieces, we have to have multiple barcode readers built into it. QR code can have multiple data points throughout in a single barcode, I think up to 12 data points. So if you're using those, great. Or if you're looking at it, yeah, DM Connect can read them, but that's just some of the things it can do. We can output to. So this is okay. So once the data is processed, it can output to network folders. So obviously folders inside of your network or in shared folders on servers, wherever that is. If you have a document management system, but maybe what a lot of companies I found, they didn't purchase the automation component. They're using it as a lookup component. We can use DM Connect to do the front end processing and naming and metadata tagging of that information so that once it hits the folder that your document management system uses, it can load it and organize it based on those rules. We can output the printers, right? Hey, sometimes we want to store stuff, but we need to generate a printed page as a record. It can do that. It can output to email, FTP sites, SharePoint. If you're doing any type of web-based distributive authoring and versioning sites, a lot of companies create their own. We can output to that, and it can actually write to a database. If you're using an onboard database, SQL type database, most database programmers, it's not my world. We can actually have it write information into a database. So we can pull from an Excel-based database, and we can put into one. File output types. PDF, which is the most common, but what most people do is a standard image only PDF, meaning it's a picture of words. Our eyes see words, but it's not electronically readable text. Next we can do with PDF is we can do searchable PDF. So that is actually the computers can electronically recognize the text. We can search through a document, do quick word searches through or phrase searches through it. It'll convert to that. It can also create an encrypted PDF if need be. And then you can output the Office formats, and we'll actually see an example of that. We can output the Word, Excel, or PowerPoint, right? You've got a document, it came from Excel, I want to put it back, but they didn't send me the Excel file. I could start typing, or I could scan it through DM Connect and convert it. And it can convert to TIFF. Some document management systems use the TIFF, the tagged information file format. You guys don't know what that means. I shared my nerdism on that one, but that's sometimes a required format. So, and I'm just scratching the surface. Again, I don't want to be extensive, but just let you guys know that inside of these four columns we've covered is a whole lot of business issues changed or improved in those. All right, just some of the options. So as I said, we have the MFP application. So this is just the way it's always been. It processes documents from the MFP scanner, and it does whatever we tell them. What we've done lately is the digital capture, right? So now we can create watch folders or have documents be emailed into it. There is a DM Connect interactive portal, which you will see for moving and manipulating electronic documents. And then, of course, there's the DM Connect portal. What do I do from here? I can upload documents. We can create interactive workflows, such as approvals or direct input. You're actually going to see an example of an expense approval where we use the portal for that. And then it allows me to look up documents that have been processed. So while it's not a document management system itself, because you're still storing the folders in your Windows folder structure, I can use the DM Connect portal to look for documents that have been processed through it. Really powerful product. And really what we're trying to move our organizations away from and our customers is away from this, either paper disorganization or electronic disorganization, as we see on the screen there. Again, find out what you're doing, find out where your headaches are and your bottlenecks, and see if we can configure DM Connect to help you and improve your current process. And the ultimate goal is get information through your systems faster so that it can be accessed to, be accessed quicker by your internal people. It can have information ready for processes that ultimately generate revenue and value for you. We want to help you move that information. And let's just take a simple example. So here, I know we have may have people from the legal field, but this is just one we use. We're saying, hey, right now, if you had these papers and, student records in a room, you're going to walk in, you're going to go through physical file cabinets. Every file cabinet has a student folder in it. You're going to pull the folder out or the master folder, and then you'll go through and pull whatever their subfolders are. Yeah, this is the way we filed before. We're saying if that's what you're doing, well, you know what? There's some pitfalls with that. While paper is great, thing I love about paper is it always works whether there's a power outage or not. It's not the best way to move and speed information. And I also get asked this because I throw this out there. It's like, we're not trying to help you eliminate your paper files. What we want to do is give you an easy way to get those paper files in electronic format so that the information is freely available. The paper's always there as a backup, or it's there for verification if you need it. But we want to help you capture that information off of those paper documents and create a digital filing system that mimics this. And in similar, let's just show the way that would do is it'd be done with folders. So we could scan from a device, create a master folder. This would be my student records, a subfolder with the name by names of all my students. And then each document type could create a different subfolder for it. And ultimately we can name the document. All of this could be automated to be done in seconds versus minutes by a typical person. Right? But let's see it work, right? I mean, that's really what we all came to see here. So I'm gonna pop out of this. I'm gonna move a couple screens around, but let's start here. I'm gonna pull up simple automation I have. All right, so let's get a DM connect. So here I have just some simulated videos, but let's talk about converting to Excel, right? So one of the things we mentioned is it can convert file formats. So this case. Live TV for here we got a little ahead of me. So here what we see is walk into the panel, selecting the DM Connect and the file conversion workflow, scanning a document through. What I want to look at here is the timestamp when this was done. And within a few seconds, we have a fully formatted Excel spreadsheet that can be typed in and edited and manipulated however you would. And all that happened in seconds, right? So that's one example of things it could do. It could also do the same with Word. I'm actually going to let us see what it looks like when it does auto filing, right? So here, same scenario. Walk up, and what I've scanned in here, I'll actually stop it or fast forward. I scan in about 30 documents. Here we have a folder that's existing, but I'm actually going to fast forward to about the 1 minute mark. And within less than a minute, we start seeing folders created that weren't there before, all at the same time. You look at the timestamp. what DM Connect did here is it read, and as we'll see, it read barcodes. But not only did it create the folders for each one of my patients in this case, clients, customers, whatever the terminology is, or however we've set it up. All right. It named the file. It created a subfolder for every different document type that it did. And we see Henry Aaron had a folder there, so it just added to his file. And let's open this, and I'm gonna pause this once it opens. So this was done reading linear barcodes. All that barcode said is prescription with a couple of signal characters in it that let us know what's a new barcode. All that's prescription, Simpson, Marge. So what it did was it took those 3 data points and we mimicked the business process. And this was taken from a real case that I worked with a client on where they said, we have about 4 core document types we store for every person. We organize them by last name and first name, and ideally, we'd like a subfolder for every document type. So if we've got to go look for a prescription file, we can just go straight to their prescription rather than go into their mass customer folder now and having to open documents and look for them because maybe they haven't been named. Or resort and look for every prescription, make sure it's the right date, right? So what we did in a minute would typically take a person, or an hour to do, conservatively, right? Because again, we processed about 30 documents. What I'll also show is here, it can also have decision-making built into this process, right? Or some logic. In here, the workflow was programmed to flag only the documents that were prescriptions and email them to our pharmacy or to our pharmacy clerk or whatever that is. So again, that's the way it's typically built backwards based on your process. What do you do? How do you do it? Where does the information need to go? And we'll try to build DM Connect to do that. So let's stop that one. I'm going to switch over again to a different screen, but I'm not looking at the full thing. Any questions coming up on that? Okay. All right. So let's look at what the digital capture looks like. So now we have several different ways we can do that. But so right now I'm in the new version. So DM Connect, when it's installed, you get a desktop component. And it can also be accessed through a web browser inside your intranet. But this is the portal. Typed the wrong password, knew that even as I was doing it. So what we see here are electronic buttons. So if I had it installed on a device, I would walk up and I'd see these same workflows on the panel of a device. But so you just saw the convert document. I could do that same thing here and convert a document right now. What I'd like to show you, because this was one that was requested by one of the coast to coast reps. Let's take a look at that. So here, we are a law firm. We have active cases. I'm able to browse to my active case and select an active case. Let's say Hughes versus Boyd. These are currently the document types and subfolders that I have here, but I can't select those. I could only select, I wanted to select that master. Let's say I have a new document type, create a pleading, gonna name the file. And I'm gonna tell it what type of file type do I want it to be. Do I want it to be in a Word document? Probably not. Excel if I wanted to convert. PDFA for long-term archival, or PDF. And if I don't select anything, it'll just be a searchable PDF. This isn't a required field. So let's just select that. I go next. Now it gives me the option to go upload a document. Here I'm just going to take document here. Click upload. And so let's open up that destination. I don't think it'll get there before me. It's processing. And so, like I said, this has become a game changer for us. And where in the past, we had, it was only, we could only process things from the device. Oh, well, I've got all these electronic files. What do I do for them if I want to run them through DM Connect? Our answer used to be, well, print them and then scan them back in. Oh, okay. Well, that's, haven't gotten a lot of fans doing that. So let's go. Well, it always limited what we could do. While we could offer a lot of help for processing scan stuff. Let's open ours. I don't remember which one did I pick. Let's see.
John, while this process is just to clarify, so with this new system, I can be working remotely and access my digital documents.
Well, you could. I mean, yeah, if you had access into your network,
Right.
you could. So what this is doing is just helping us upload documents. So if you had, if you created a virtual gateway into your network and say, I'm working from home and I have documents on my computer, but I can access our internal system, I could come in with this portal and upload documents and it would be processed through DM Connect and store them or do whatever we want to do.
Got it.
All right. And here we go. I don't even remember what I hit. Let's make sure let's make sure we're working. Just trying to find the one I just processed. What did I select? See, I'm going dumb on it. Oh, there we are. Just took a minute. All right, there's the document. Use versus Boyd, witness 14 ABCD came through right now. All right, and that's just the document, nothing special here, but we just saved as a PDF. But that was grabbed. So that's me. In this case, I loaded it from, I'm working on the same, obviously on the same virtual machine, But let's see what an email in looks like, right? So I have this end of business workflow that has an email watch on it. I'm actually going to close this and I'm going to email a document in. All right, so I compose it. Just compose an email. I'm going to send it to, this is the email address that I have watching that workflow for DM Connect. And if I upload documents in, so this could be someone, you're outside of the network, right? I'm not on the company network. I got stuff that I want to email, in to be processed. Just pull a sample file. All right, so I sent that to that email. Let's go open that virtual again. Open that same folder. All right, that's today. So a second file should show up in a minute. And even this is a workflow that automatic, like, I tested it earlier today. Prior to today, that folder didn't exist. This uses nothing but timestamps. To process. Okay. There's a second file, just showed up. So that was emailed in, right? And right now, that's the only one I had set up that watches that set up to email, but I could have created any one of those workflows to allow me to email something into it. Another example. So let's say expenses. Okay, so I'm going to create an expense. So this combines a multi-step process with a lookup process. So let's say I have my employee number. So this is where we're going to look into a database. It looks into my database and comes back with, hey, lets me know that number's Kyocera, right? We've got an expense. What type of expense is it? It's a hotel. How much is it? And in this case, let's go network. So I've uploaded an expense. So let's watch the interactive component here. So I could hit this here, but I'm going to show us that we don't have to all be on the same network. So if I go open this, oh, that was one email that confirmed that that document was saved. But in a moment, we'll probably get an email that says, oh, I've got to review and approve this expense that just came through. So now I'm not on that server. I'm actually back in my regular one. I get a link that opens the portal in a web browser instead of using the application. One. So here's where I get to manage the approval. So lets me know what came through, who it's for. Usually, so got this. Select all. Screen's not showing because I'm shared. I'm not getting my bottom button. There we are. Okay. So shows me that one's awaiting action. Maybe taking a minute for the document to load. Typically, it'll show me. In this case, it's taking a minute, and it could just be because the VM and network things are going on, but I can approve it. I'm just, oh yeah, here we are. It just takes a minute. I'm not patient. I'm used to the quick clicks. All right, so here I got the expense, Kyocera's, right? So I could reject this, right? But in this case, I'm gonna go ahead and approve it just to watch what happens. So we got the document there, we approve it. All right. So this is Kai's email. So Kai should be getting an email that says, system, it's been approved. Let's check our, let's see if it saved it. Oh, there's the new one that just came through, right? Kyocera has an approved expense. It's typed approved for payment, has a date stamped on it, and we're good to go. And there's the email that shows up for them, letting them know their expense got approved, right? And right, so just, I would say, just some examples of things we can do. Really want to show the goal here was not to go extensive because we're at time, but to give our clients an idea of what's possible. And again, keep in mind, all this could be customized, but these were things that were based on common stuff, some requests that and input I got from the Coast to Coast team on some things they thought they'd like to see. I would encourage you to get with your sales consultant from Coast to Coast and let them see if there's a process they can help you with. Obviously, in today's world, a lot more people are working remotely, so that that being able to email documents in and have it launch a workflow has played really big for some of our clients over the last few months. But we'd love to be able to talk about talk about what's going on in your environment and see how we can help. I mean, I'll stop screen sharing. Say, are there any questions?